Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Dose of Inspiration. So, on this channel, we'll be covering people's stories and how they achieved success, big or small. And we're going to figure out how we can take something from everybody's story and apply it to our own life to get a little inspiration and push us to achieve greatness. So, for today's story, I'm actually be starting off with my own story. Some of you guys might recognize my voice. I do have other YouTube channels. I have a YouTube channel with over 500,000 subscribers, and I have another YouTube channel with over 125,000 subscribers. With that being said, being a YouTuber was my true passion in life, and probably my only passion because growing up, I never really knew what I wanted to be. What I did know was that I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos while I worked certain jobs and just realizing like, hey, I want to do this one day. But let's start off to when I was a kid. So as a kid, I was a child to an immigrant stepfather named Gonzalo and to a mother that was born in Compton, California. Now I know this isn't anything new. There's a lot of people out there that have immigrant parents or parents that were born in the AKA hood. My mother, even though she was born in the States, ended up growing up in Mexico because that's where her family was. My grandma actually passed through the border, through the river, while she was pregnant with my mom, and shortly after she arrived to the States, my mom was born. With that being said, my mother does not speak English as she was raised in Mexico, and in the 6th grade, she had to drop out of school to work to help provide for the family. My stepfather, on the other hand, came from Mexico, an immigrant, and ended up marrying my mother. And now he's a citizen here in the States. But we did struggle a lot growing up. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I was beaten or that I had this like crazy, insane, hard life growing up. Or my biggest struggles growing up were financial struggles, like a lot of people out there. We were just very, very, very poor. And on top of being very poor, as a child, I had to work a lot alongside with my family so that we can overcome our struggles. And my dad would go to work from 3 in the morning to about 5 p.m., come home, eat, and work. He was working on this house that we lived in at the time. I think their plan was to fix the house up so that they can sell the house and buy another house, and kind of slowly progress doing that. And I remember when my dad would arrive home from work, I would be so mad because I knew that he was going to put me to work. And as a kid, you want to play, you want to have fun, you want to be with your friends. You don't want to be working outside in the heat with a shovel. But that was my life, and that was my quote unquote struggles growing up. Now, I did that for years, and eventually my parents ended up selling that house, getting another house, and working really hard, another 5-6 years, getting another property, and so on. And I remember growing up, the one thing that always stuck to me was that I told myself that when I was older, I was going to make enough money to not struggle the way my family and I had to struggle. And I was very dedicated. And I think from a young age, I was manifesting the fact that when I grew up, I was going to have money. One way or another, I didn't know how. I just knew I was going to have money. So at the age of 15, after working countless years with my family and not getting paid a dollar, I realized that in order for me to start making money, I had to get a real job. So I ended up applying to McDonald's and getting hired. And I remember at first it was great. I would work, and even though the job sucked and the pay sucked, I was just happy to get a paycheck. I was trying my best always to be the best employee I could be, try to keep my work area clean, try to have a good attitude with my customers, and just try to be overall a good person to my work environment. I clearly remember the day that one of my 6 managers, because when you work McDonald's, you have like a billion managers. One of my 6 managers, her name was Fatima. She was an older lady. She had 2 kids. And imagine having 2 kids and all you've accomplished is being a manager at McDonald's. No offense to the people that do it, I understand that I believe the top manager, like the main manager, was making like 80 grand a year, which isn't bad, but for the other managers, they were just regular employees like me and everybody else that wore a different color shirt, and they're told, hey, you're a shift manager. So with that being said, this person felt like they were better than the rest of us because they wore a different color t-shirt from us. And I remember the day that this lady, she just tried talking down on me, and we ended up getting into an argument. And at the end of that argument, she ended up telling me that I wasn't going to be anything in life and that I was going to be just like her working at McDonald's for the rest of my life. And I remember how emotional I got that day. And I believe that I even left my shift. I just walked out. Oh, where are you going? Are you sure you want to do that? And I was positive. I knew right there and then that I wasn't going to allow somebody to disrespect me, especially not somebody that was in a position that I would never want to be in life. Because I understood even at a young age that I was only there temporarily to make my money. So I remember walking home and crying. Yes, I do admit I cried, and it wasn't the first or the last time that I was going to cry because I felt so anxious. I felt so disappointed in myself for just being put, like, allowing myself to be in a position where somebody could talk down on me the way she was. And I clearly remember telling myself that that was the first and last time I was going to show up to work at that job. And from that point forward, I actually ended up working countless jobs. And every single job I got, I was getting paid a little bit more. So I was content, I guess. It's all I knew. It's all my family taught me was have a job. So the last job I ended up having was working at a car dealership. And the car dealership was probably the worst job I ever had. I had done sales prior to the car dealership at a gym, and I did really, really well at the gym. I actually ended up getting moved up, working at different gyms, working at their best, newest gyms that this company was opening and helping them succeed. And it felt great. I felt important. But when I came to this car dealership, I was just used. I did have skills. I knew how to sell, but they were just taking my money, man. All the cars I was selling, I was making less than minimum wage at the end of it. And the manager was making over $50,000 a month. And I didn't understand why, but I was young. I didn't question much. I just kept trying to work harder every single month because I was promised I'd make more money, and I never did. And I remember that towards the end of the month, I believe from about the 18th of the month to the end of the month, they expected us to work 12 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week. No days off. You had no days off because they had a quota to meet, and they expected us to all work like dogs to make that happen. And I remember talking about dogs, funny. I remember I had to take my dog to the vet because my dog was sick. Her name was Holly. She's a German Shepherd. And when I was at the vet, I had already called one of my managers because at the car dealership is a bunch of managers too. I had already called one of my managers and I told them, hey, I have to take my dog to the vet. This is the situation. And my manager was like, okay, it's fine. Then I started receiving calls from my other managers. And one of them, the main manager, was like, hey, if you don't come in right now to work, consider it your last day and come collect your check. And I just remember being at the vet and looking down at my dog and thinking, this is insane. How am I being threatened to be fired because I have to bring my dog to the vet? And I clearly told the manager, write up my last check. I will go pick up my check. And they couldn't believe it. They thought, I wasn't serious until I showed up and I was like, where's my check? And they're like, oh, you're really here for it? I'm like, yeah, I'm really here for it. And they gave me my check and I walked out. And I told them, this is the last day I will ever work for somebody. And they laughed at me. I'm a kid, I'm 19. They're just laughing at me. I walked out of there and I knew from that day forward that I was never going to get a job again. So for a while, I was just doing anything I could for money. Anything that didn't, take me back to a traditional job. Until I eventually ran into YouTube. And I realized how passionate I was about YouTube. And I realized that for a long time, I was a big fan of YouTube. And I decided that that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a YouTuber. Now, being a YouTuber and wanting to be successful in YouTube, it's like wanting to be a rapper or an actor. It takes a lot of dedication. The odds of you making it are almost little to none. And you're working endless hours before you ever receive a dollar. But thankfully, thankfully to the world and my ability to stay focused, I was able to accomplish my dreams, and I was able to become financially independent. I was able to grow my YouTube channels. I was able to help my family and friends start their own channels where they became actually really successful themselves. And it taught me that in life, all it takes sometimes is a couple bad situations. All it takes sometimes is you being pushed up against the wall for you to really retaliate and go after your dreams. Sometimes when things are hard, that's exactly what you need to push forward. When somebody's talking down on you, when you're working a job you don't really like, sometimes you need that, because that can be the fuel that pushes you forward to become what you truly want to become. And that's what I want you to take from my story. It doesn't matter if you're poor. It doesn't matter if your parents are immigrants. It doesn't matter if you're born into a city that's hard. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's truly up to you to make the decisions and to create a state of mind that is positive in order for you to be able to succeed and move forward. Now, today, I am nowhere near where I want to be. And as I'm recording this video and I'm recording this audio, I realize that my story and my journey is still in the process, but I am somewhere way better than I ever was, and I'm working for myself. And even when the money isn't great, even when things get hard and there's a little bit of money in the bank, I remind myself, hey, I still wake up and I do what I love. I don't have to go clock in for somebody else for a quick paycheck. Now, with this story, I'm not sitting here and telling everybody to go quit their jobs and go do it how I did it. But one thing I have learned about life is that it does take some risk, and you do have to fight fear, and you do have to go against the odds, and you might eat dirt for a while, you might struggle for a while, but when it does work out, there is light on the other side of the tunnel, because it feels 20 times better to have the freedom to do you and to do what you love than it does to work for somebody else and never feel appreciated. And that's my story on how I became financially independent, and I do what I love every single day. And I hope that this story inspires you to do what you love. And I hope that if you're hearing this right now, you get off YouTube, get off this application, and apply yourself. Go read a book. Go work out. Go meditate. Do something for you. One thing that I've noticed about inspirational videos and motivational videos is that it's like a drug. People just want it more and more and more of it. However, that doesn't ultimately make you successful. What makes you successful is taking little bits from everybody out there and applying yourself to achieve your dreams. Please send in your stories, guys. I really do believe that everybody has a piece of inspiration from the stories that they can share that can help other people. And it doesn't always have to be about money or being extremely successful in a career. A simple story of inspiration can simply be somebody that comes from a real crazy struggle that gets out of that struggle and builds something beautiful in life, builds some sort of stability. Thank you guys so much for listening. I do ask that you support this new channel by hitting the like button and by sharing this with a friend, family member, or anybody you believe that can benefit from this. Till next time, you guys, I'm out.